There's no one currently watching. This is awesome. How do I know if anyone's watching? Okay, someone's on. Hi, for anyone who's joining me. I'm just giving it a bit of minutes, giving it a couple of minutes to see what's going on, see if people jump on. I've got different cameras set up on different channels, so it's been quite interesting. I thought I'd just jump on and see if anyone's got any questions that need answering. Hi. Happy Easter. Christos Anesti. Christos Anesti. Close that. This is so bizarre. Okay, there we go. I'm now live. Yay. Hi, Alana, Nico, Starry. Hi, guys. How are you? Thanks for joining. I just thought I'd jump on here and see if people have any questions that need answering. Since I've been a little bit quiet, obviously, during Easter. Christos Anesti, everyone. Christos Anesti. Happy Easter. This is doing my head in. I've got so many different apps going all at once. I'm currently in Queensland at the moment. I thought, you know what, I'll just jump on and see what's happening. I wanted to answer a few questions first and foremost from the time you started. Sorry, this is really new for me. I don't ever do this. I don't on camera. I did it once a couple of weeks ago. And I thought, okay, some people are interested, some people are not. People were asking questions. So I thought, you know what, I'll just see what happens. It's completely bizarre to me. So just bear with me as I mumble through this. I don't even know where to look, man. I really don't know where to look. First and foremost, does anyone have any questions that need answering? People are constantly sending me messages going, you know, what about this? What about that? How do I do this? What do you think of this? This and that. So if you do, throw them my way. Hopefully I can answer some stuff. I'm just sort of doing these. I'm trying to figure out where to look at, which camera to look at. But for those people, first and foremost, for those people that keep asking me about Greek Taftoda, all the IDs and stuff like that. I've been talking to my lawyer in Greece, and apparently he seems to think that you can do it at the consulate in Australia, at one of the consulates in Australia. I've had people call up the consulate in Sydney who say, no, you can't, you got to go to Greece to do it. And then I personally have had friends who have said, yeah, no, we went to Melbourne to do it, but decided not to because the wait was too long and we were just going to be in Greece anyway. So I'm trying to get in touch with, I'm meant to get in touch with the consulate in Melbourne, which I'll do over the next day or two to see what the hell is going on. The issue with these guys as well is obviously it's Greece. So different storylines come out of something. To give you an understanding, I was caught by the army in Greece at Athens Airport in 2005. I was born there, needed to do military service, blah, blah, blah. Went back there, got caught, arrested, thrown into military service, and then kind of fled the country. That's a whole different story, but still am wanted for military service. But I've been back and forth between the consulates and the lawyers in Greece, and my uncle's a military judge who's taking care of all that. So I'm getting one conversation from one side going, no, it's fine. You're allowed to be in the country. Then the Greek consulate here saying, no, you can't. We'll nab you. You can't go back into the country. You shouldn't be stepping back in. But then Greece saying, we're not really caring. We don't really search for these people anymore. We're over it. So, I mean, it's doing my head in. Everyone knows what Greece is like. So that is the exact same thing. But since I'm on the it is the number one thing I would say that you need to have if you're looking at buying property in Greece. You can do it through the Avantirio as well, a passport. But the thing is, you need to have an APME, which is a tax file number in Greece. And the only way to get that is obviously by having some problem of identification. It doesn't necessarily have to be a passport. I know a lot of people are gunning for a passport, and that can take a while, especially if you're half caste. One parent's Greek, one isn't. It took me maybe 3 months because I was fully born in Greece, so they kind of looked after me. But yeah, if you're in Greece, seriously, save yourself time. If you're going to Greece this year, go to the consulate, go to Greece, go to the police station in Greece, wherever you're locally from, just go, I want to do it. and they'll do it on the spot, a couple of weeks. But essentially, they do it there and then it comes out. The thing is, anyone who's got an old Dafdod, which I don't have with me here because I'm currently in Queensland seeing family. The old plastic sort of, rectangle-looking thing. They're getting phased out. Greece has finally come to our standards of living and have brought in the driver license ID card. So they're saying that within 2 years, I think it is, that the old Dafdod need to be swapped out. So this is where I'm getting confused, because they're saying you can do it at the consulate, and then I'm getting people saying, no, you can't. Some consulates are saying, no, you need to go back to Greece, which doesn't make sense, because what if you can't make it back to Greece? So I'm going to clear that up. And the people that have asked me about that, I am going to get back to you and let you know what I've come up against and figured out for myself. Why is this thing telling me to point? I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't really use TikTok, so I don't ever go live. Please excuse my awkwardness. How was everyone's day? Simple as that. Give me a second. The other thing I wanted to say is, aside from the fact that you obviously need to have a bank account, it doesn't necessarily need to be a Greek bank account, but it needs to be a bank account in Europe, at the very least in Europe, part of the EU, not just anywhere in Europe as well. It's going to be an EU bank account. It's going to be in your name, because the money has to come out of your name, especially if the property's going into your name. So whoever's name the property's going into, the money has to come out of that bank account. I don't think it can come out of an Australian, because I've had to take it out of an Australian bank account and send it to a Greek bank account that I've got there, and then we do the transaction. I'm sure it could go that way as well, but you're going to need something to set up for if you're going to lease it out anyway. The money's going to need to go somewhere, especially if you're not there, unless you get a property manager. And then it goes into their bank account, and blah, 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 blah. But essentially, it's probably best to have an EU bank account as well, just for your own benefit. So Dafdod, great bank account, it's costing nothing, or the bank account might cost you a couple of euro a month. Dafdod, I think, costs something, but nothing too crazy. And then Afimi, that's I think you go to Kep, which is sort of like their Centrelink over there, I would assume. I don't know how to quite put it there, but it's basically a government agency that you go in there, you go and apply for a tax file number, and they'll get it done. Alternatively, a lawyer, an accountant will do it for you as well. In fact, you do need to be essentially registered on the TaxSnet as well to be able to rent it out legally. Because all that stuff kind of goes through your account, which goes through your TaxSnet. So anytime you sign on a renter, I mean, you can do it cash in hand, hush, hush, and away you go. But if you do it sort of the proper way, they sign an agreement, you sign an agreement, whatever. The agreement generally goes for about a year. And then you give it to your accountant, and they kind of put it through the TaxSnet, because then you can also start to claim the taxes and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff, which Greece technically needs to see. And so does Australia, I think. That's a whole conversation that you need to have with your accountant, not with me. I'm definitely not a financial advisor by any means necessary. By the way, any advice that I give, this is stuff that I do for myself. This isn't stuff that's, it just works for me. Please make sure that you double check everything, triple check everything. Do not take my advice as hard financial advice. Speak to an expert before you speak to me. Just make sure you cover your bases, and make sure that you've got all your ducks in a row before you go ahead and start firing off in Greece. But at the same time, speaking of firing off in Greece, Ellinikon building, I mean, what the hell is going on there? It's an €8 billion investment that's started in 2020. I think stage 1 is finishing in 2026. And then there's about 5 stages or something like that, and 5 different apartment buildings, and it's bonkers huge. It's like an old airfield or something that turned into an apartment complex. I mean, €8 billion investment is insane, and most of them have already been sold. Which, I mean, it doesn't baffle me, but like it's obviously showing great things for Athens, great things for Greece, nonetheless. Which also goes in hand as to why this short-term ban kicked in Athens this year. Firstly, whatever I put up the other day, that AI video seemed to do big guns with people. It seemed to really trigger and resonate with people because it's done about 18,000 views, 7,500 views, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I've never had anything to do with that. So many views, so many likes, so many follows, so many comments, shares, etc. So thank you for that. But I've had a lot of people, it starts in October, it doesn't come into effect this yet. Yeah, fine, okay. As of the 1st of January, they made that ruling saying that starting from October, we're no longer going to give anyone new licenses to operate short-term leasing companies, Airbnb, Booking.com, whatever, anything else gets you a short-term lease. And they're only trialing in certain areas in Athens, in the heart of Athens, and they're only trialing it for a year. And I wonder if that has come into play with the fact that the first stage of their Linicon building is set to be finished by 2026. So when not all the apartments, but when a lot of the apartments have become available, so people can't go, hey, by the way, here's a short-term rental at the brand new building. Why don't you come in and spend the night here for 15,000 euro, or whatever it is, I don't know, something ridiculous. So I reckon that's what's happening, and they're going to see how it affects the Greek market over there. The rental crisis is currently happening in most of Greece. When I say most of it, it's obviously not happening in the villages because no one really wants to go to the village for an Airbnb. I mean, some do, don't get me wrong, but it's not obviously as prominent as it is in the main areas of Greece. But it would be interesting to see if this follows through with the rest of Greece because, again, I'm from Thessaloniki. I know I harp on about it. It has caused a stir down there as well. There are people that are not struggling necessarily to find a place to rent, but you are competing with a lot of other people who are also looking. Prices have gone up. You can actually cherry pick now as an owner, an investor, whatever you want to call yourself, which is also good, but also bad for the people there. So I can understand what's going on. Hi. Little bro, 231569. That's an interesting name, man. But hi, thank you. Sorry, I'm spread between 3 different screens. It looks so bizarre. I don't know what's happening. And like all these comments, well, not all these comments, but as in like it just tells you the thing is watching, and it's really only about 2 people. I think just the keys doing stuff. You chill. Thanks, bro. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the rental market in Greece. Look, all in all, Greece is booming. It's just booming. I don't even know how else to put it lightly. It's Google it. Like shit is going up, man. And if there is ever a time to buy Greece, now is the time to buy Greece because it's eventually going to plateau. What, 10 years, 15 years, what it is? Yeah, it's gonna come to the end of its cycle. And I think we're currently in the golden years of Greece's economy for our generation, if that makes sense. I don't know if we're ever going to really see these prices again anytime soon. I mean, if you think about the things that have happened to cause these prices, out of the GFC from 2008, then to the banks shutting down in 2015, and then COVID. So it's just been hit. Tourism took a bit of a dive over COVID. Businesses shut. Excuse me. People started working from home. You've now got a lot of people coming into Greece. The golden visa became a thing. And now all of a sudden people are like, well, hang on a second. If we can buy cheap property in a place that's sunny and beautiful and cheap and has amazing food and blah, 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 then why won't we? And the world just started buying in Greece. And I mean, not just property as well. What China owns our ports. That's an interesting one. But, people are buying in Greece and it's just causing the market to go up. And why shouldn't it? I mean, it's a beautiful country as well. Everyone loves it. Everyone I know is always in Greece every summer. You're paying someone to, unless you got your own property or got accommodation, you're sleeping on someone's couch, you're paying someone to stay there anywhere you go. And I guarantee a lot of the time, it's not the Greeks that are owning it. There are obviously, but it's not all the Greeks that are owning it because they don't have the money. They really don't have the money. We look at what we make here and we look at what they make there, and it's generally relative speaking. But the thing is, you have a lot more of an opportunity from Australia going into Greece with our dollar, which actually is generally half of what the euro is. Not half, but you know what I mean. Like, by the time you put in conversion rates and bank fees and all that kind of stuff, you're not really ending up with much left over, like, 60 cents to the dollar or whatever, to the thing or whatever it is. So even still, it's still a lot easier for us to buy in Greece. What we make, they would, a basic wage is what, €800 a month, 788 or whatever it is, anywhere between 780, 5,900. If you start to hit the thousands, you're doing really good for yourself. You're obviously doing a good job. But the majority of Greeks are making €800 a month, let's call it, working 5-6 days. I think they've just implemented a 6 day as well, where you can't decline. You have to kind of do it. They're up in arms about that because of the secrets. But, obviously they're not happy with that situation, but I don't even know if the wages are going up. I think it's going up an extra €5 or something a day, or €10 a day, if that. It's insane. But it is a lot easier to buy in Greece as an Australian than it is a Greek. We have the capacity to make money, bring from overseas, and we also have a lot more lending ability, I would assume. I know the Greek banks have made it difficult for Greeks to lend money. I've got friends over there who are trying to lend money, who are trying to lend 50,000, 60,000 euro just to top themselves up to be able to buy something, and the banks are shutting down. And I've been speaking to Australians that have been able to be pre-approved for hundreds of thousands of euro. I myself was pre-approved for 70,000 euro, and that was a couple of years back. I decided to go against it. And, I'm not anything amazing down here, about 100 a year, whatever I was on at the time. So our borrowing capacity, I believe, is a lot easier here. And also there are different ways that you can do it here as well. Like, again, I bought my first one by pulling out a $40,000 loan from ANZ, sending it over to Greece and buying my first property. Granted, back then when I bought in 2017, the property was, I think I spent 19,000 euro, not Aussie, I wish. 19,000 euro, which is about $32,000. Obviously that since then it's blown up, so it's definitely not worth that. So I think it's sitting at about 65,000 at the moment. Granted, I dropped another 10K in there, 10 or 15 to be honest, I'm probably closer to 10, but whatever. But yeah, it's fine. It hasn't been empty ever since. Plus, the rentals that I've made back over the year, and obviously the market growth. And that was all from a 40,000 loan. And then I've done the same ever since. I've been pulling out loans. Now I'm building myself up to be able to pull out money in Greece from a Greek bank. So again, you can pull out money. You can get loans from Greece as an expat. You've got to put up 30 to 35% of the deposit, depending on which bank you go to. I went through Ethniki, which they wanted about 33% roughly. And then someone I was speaking to the other day said that he was doing it through Alpha Bank, and they wanted 30%. So again, it depends on the bank, how much you have, what your situation is. Obviously, they're going to go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. They're going to go through your money. They're going to go through your money there. They're going to go through absolutely everything. They're going to want to see stuff. They're going to ask for the same documents time after time after time. It doesn't take long, a few months. You can get pre-approval in a couple of weeks if all goes well. I mean, but it is. They are going to go through everything. They're going to do their due diligence a lot more than what they would in Australia, I dare say. But that's kind of my situation. Now let's have a look here. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyone got any questions? No. Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm just going to try if I can have a bit of a chat about nothing in particular, probably for another 10 minutes. I'm going to go to the spa. It's getting cold in Melbourne, so I thought I'd come up to Queensland. I like chasing the warm weather. Speaking of which, I'm going to be in Greece in July. I'm already looking properties for a couple of clients around Thessaloniki and around Athens, the islands as well. If you are interested in buying in Greece or investing in property, making that sweet, sweet moolah, please reach out to me. I'm over there for about 6 weeks. I can't wait to show you guys. I bought a shop last year and I'm going to convert it into a loft, and I'm going to go over there and record that situation, hopefully record it all, because I mean, I'm only there for about 6 weeks, so hopefully it's done within those 6 weeks, and then put it out and show you guys exactly sort of what I do and what you can do, you know, with a little bit of money. Now, you can choose to invest with hundreds of thousands. You can choose to invest with tens of thousands. Depends on what your situation is. I started small, and now I'm slowly building my way up. Other people are starting with $500,000, and that's fine. That's where they're at. You can still make money back on both. I just find that I found it easier to invest in the small, rebuild them, and keep them. I know other people that are rebuilding them and flipping them. Again, it depends on your game, whatever you want to do. I would rather have money sitting in a Greek bank account, so that way I can show the banks that I got Greece, make income, leverage off that, blah, 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 blah. Other people just want to flip, have some money. I don't care, whatever. But you can make 10%, 11%, 12%, even 8%. You know, it depends on what you buy. Obviously, the higher up you go, the more new you go, it's going to be a lot harder to charge 12% return on investment. But at the same time, depends where you buy, man. Depends what you do. Everything's relative. But there is money to be made, and you can make it with any kind of funds available to you. I mean, obviously not with like tens of thousands, but the shop that I bought cost 27. You know, it's not going to cost you any more than 15 to do everything that I want to it. And, you know, that's being generous as well. So, and then I'm going to be making at least anywhere from 380 to 420 back on that a month. So, you know, that's 10%. If not a little bit more, but let's just be generous. It's 10%. You know, even not whatever. No, it's probably about 11. But anyway, let's just say 10%. You can make money there. This is what does my head in. Also, I don't really want to say this, but what was it? Paros got hit. Mykonos got hit. Tourism is going to go down a bit in those areas while they clean up. I mean, they're going to be rushing to clean up those areas, right? Floods, fine. Flood damage. Mykonos probably more so than Paros, because Mykonos is Mykonos, so they're going to want to try and rebuild all that quickly. Here's the thing. I don't know if it's going to get built back up, because it's not like you've got any supplies on those islands. And if you do, it's very limited. You've got half an island to rebuild. Where are those supplies going to go to first? Obviously, the big investors. So then you've got to cut everything across from the ferries from Athens. Ferries don't start up till about May. I mean, they might have started some ferries now to be able to do all that stuff. And then who's going to build it? Who's going to do the renovations? Old mate George running the souvlaki shop. I mean, like, you know, you're going to have to bring people over. So it's Mykonos and Paros and those, and even Santorini, bits of Santorini affected by the volcano. It's going to be a tough year for tourism. I wouldn't be surprised if people start to look at selling their investments because they've either gotten in the hole, or they just don't have the money, or they don't have the capacity, they don't have whatever. I hate to say it, but I mean, it is a legitimate situation. Someone is going to want to sell, and probably cheaper than what it would generally be worth. Granted, there's going to need to be work done to that property. But I mean, you know, if I had the money, if it was just water damage or whatever, I don't even know what the volcano did, but I heard that I don't think it hasn't erupted, obviously. So what was it, an ash cloud? Was it a few earthquakes or whatever? Okay, fine. They're designed to withstand earthquakes. All right, fine. So it needs a little bit of building up. And by a little bit, I mean, obviously, let's just call it 100,000 euro. But if you're buying something on Santorini that needs 100,000 euro to do up, and you're buying it for a couple of hundred less anyway, it's still a win-win, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's if you've got that kind of money, I think that things will be a little bit interesting in those areas for at least the next year. I really can't wait to see how they go rebuilding those parts as well. And they're on the same sort of fault line. You know, you got from a bit of Athens, you got Mykonos, Paros, and you got, I think, Naxos and Santorini. But so they're generally that area that's been hit by either earthquakes or floods or whatever. So, I hate to say it, man, but it is business. Business is business. That's how you're going to make some money. You know, you're going to jump on opportunities, and if it means that you're going to pick up someone else's misfortune, then maybe that's the good grace of God for you. Maybe you've done well in life, and you can pick up something that's relatively cheap. I think that's going to be an interesting watch over the next season to see how much we are affected. And the other thing that's going to do, if things are closed on Mykonos, things are closed in Santorini, things are closed in Barbados, not everything obviously, but they don't have the capacity to take on whatever they did last year. Well, those people are going to go somewhere else, aren't they? They're going to go somewhere else. Small islands are going to start popping up a little bit more. We'll see. I think it's going to be an interesting time. I think you're going to see a lot more little islands that are going to pop up, and people are going to be like, "Oh, what about this one? What about that one? Even up north, all around. There's over 1,000 islands there. Choose one, pick one, throw a stone." It's an interesting time in Greece. I think it's a very interesting time, and it's an exciting time. And if you have the money, I think now is an absolute spectacular time to be jumping in and joining in that investment opportunity, because I cannot see how you would regret that decision 5 years down the track, 10 years down the track. I think it's just like Australia was 10, 15 years ago. Now, I remember looking at property here when I was in my 20s, and that was 15 years ago, and I remember it was a couple of hundred, 300,000. Same area is now sitting at 750, 800,000. I'm like, Jesus, I never expected it to go that much. And Greece is going to be the same. So it's an interesting watch, an interesting time. Hi to everyone who's joined. I can't even remember what's what. I think that's TikTok, that's YouTube, that's Instagram. By the way, thank you again for the love and the support, for the comments, for the sharing, for the following, the subscription. So it actually really, firstly, warms my heart. But I mean, this is something that I have always thought about doing in the back of my mind. I've always helped people go about their business in Greece and sort of giving them advice based on what I've done. Everything has just been based on what I've learned through my experiences. I've been burnt and I've gotten lucky, and I know the process. I know what's expected. I can generally look at a property and go, this is probably going to cost you this much. You're looking at that. You'll probably be able to rent this for that. And I've been able to guide a couple of my friends across, even with other friends. I've got one guy who's got a house in Crete. His family's passed away, and it's all fallen on him, and he's gone beside himself. I love him to death. I won't say his name. I nearly did, actually. But he was struggling. He's like, I don't know what to do. Gave his stuff to my uncle. We're figuring it out for him. So if you have any issues as well, I've got my team over there, lawyers, accountants, civil engineers. I guess they're not a lawyer. Anyway, I've lost my mind. You know what I'm on about. If you're not Greek, they're a conveyancer in a sense. Anyway, I can answer questions for you guys. I can help you. I can steer you in the right direction as well. So I don't just manage properties over there. I don't just help buy properties over there for you guys. I can consult. There are package deals available as well. And I can rent them out and just make sure that you don't get stuffed up and guide you in the right direction. Because boy, oh boy, do I wish I had someone there when I was doing it myself. It was very, very difficult to begin with. I have heard a lot of these stories of, oh, you're going to get screwed over. Oh, they're going to take advantage of you. Oh, they're going to hear that you're Australian. Oh, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Look, like anywhere, you've got good apples, you've got bad apples. You're going to get screwed over. I've been screwed over myself, and I've been screwed over in Australia. I've heard horror stories of people getting screwed over here. So it's just in the person everywhere. You can find good people anywhere you go. You just got to trust. You got to know certain things and understand what's going on. Greece does operate in a whole different manner than what Australia does. Obviously, there is a lot of underhanded stuff going on. A lot of people do cash jobs. The second you ask them for a receipt, they tack on 24% on top of it. So that's their VAT, GST. That's their GST. The VAT is 24% over there. So they tack that on top of the price. So whenever you're asking for a price for someone, keep in mind, add on an extra 25% on that price, because of the fact that they're giving you a price that's cash in hand. That's all it is. And they always look at you like, you want a receipt? And it's like, yeah, man, I need a receipt. Because I claim everything in Australia. I do everything legally. Australia knows what I got, what I don't have, how much, blah, blah, this, that. we do pay double taxes. We don't have a double tax agreement, unlike we do with like England or America. I don't even know if we have a double tax agreement with England, but we do with America. We don't with Greece, and that's, I dare say, purely because all the Greeks are like, oh, pension, F you go. So Australia's like, well, we'll have a pension and we'll tax you double on everything you have. The good thing about that is, at least from my accountant's perspective, being able to claim everything there. I've got receipts for everything as well. So I think it's just smarter and safer. It does cost a lot more. But I mean, in the long run, you know, I'd rather be able to pay 24% of everything and claim it all back than do things cash in hand and not be able to claim anything. And at the same time, I'm not going to get a receipt for a 10 euro job of like changing a, you know, PowerPoint or whatever that 10 euro to change a PowerPoint. A PowerPoint cost my friend $400 to get a call out fee to have a look at a PowerPoint in an apartment in Victoria. Got old mate Jimmy, who's 68 years old, came over, couldn't even see the PowerPoint because he was so blind. It cost me 10 euro to change it. So Greece. So yeah, you know, with those kind of jobs, obviously you let things go, but at the same time, those kind of jobs are going to add up and add up and add up and add up and add up, and then before you know it, you've lost 2,000 euro worth of receipts that you could have claimed or, you know, justified one way or another. But that's about it for me, guys. I thought I'd just jump on and say hi, give you guys my thoughts. I will be doing another video very soon. I'll talk more about the Elenico and all that kind of stuff. And also I'll answer a lot more of your questions as well. I know people sending me private messages. I am trying my best to get back to everyone. I can't believe the demand. It's actually a little bit crazy. I was not expecting all this back and forth, and I'm trying to engage with everyone because actually I love the background, I love chatting, and I love going back and forth with people, you know, having that little debate on certain things and whatnot. And sometimes a bit of a smart ass, but that's just me. Be a smart ass back to me. I don't care. I love it. It's all fun and games. But yeah, I am going to stop this, and thank you so much for watching and jumping on. Have a safe night, and we'll chat soon. This is going to be fun. Me trying to figure out how to stop all of them. And now, and this one I don't know how to end. End stream.